Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to a special. I'm going to call it a therapy session episode.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good hook for this episode. And I have a brother from another mother, Luke Bug, the geek of steel, on the show today with us. How's it going?
Hello again. It's always great to come on. One, I haven't got to do as much tech work. I haven't got to do as much prep or setup. And I get to speak with you about stuff that we've needed to speak about for quite some time. So yeah, this is going to be, as you said, a therapy session. Perfect way of putting it.
Yeah, no, definitely. But you've been all right in general though, dude.
I've been good, yeah. Dealing with the storm Eunice and everything that she has brought to the south coast and across the country. I've just literally, before this started, I was out in the street picking up all the rubbish because it's bin day tomorrow. So of course, all the bins have decided right now to just collapse. Nobody else's, mind you, just my bin. So it was a test of patience and character for me not to just chuck it all up in the air, throw it into the back of the alleyway and just come back. But other than that, I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk about this and excited for the next couple of weeks as well. So yeah, good times.
No, definitely.
Good times.
We do. And you know what? Like, I don't even know how to disclose some of the information. I got to do it cryptically because I don't want to get myself in trouble either. But
that's it. It's difficult.
Yeah, it is. It is very difficult. But we got to see something, and you know, like our minds were taken away for 3 hours.
Yeah. And I think by now, so what's the date? Today is the Sunday, the 20th of February. And it was a week before last, wasn't it?
Right.
I've still been thinking about it non-stop, but
the 8th, I think it was.
The 8th of February, we and some other UK DC bloggers were invited. This won't be going live till all the embargoes have lifted, but yes, we weren't allowed to say what we've seen, but you've probably seen the thumbnail by now and know the fact that we did go and see The Batman.
That's
and right. My goodness me, it's great when we get to be privileged with these events like this. I never thought it would happen. We are just passionate fans that share our love for all things comic and cinema. And when things like this happen, they're always surreal. We're always very privileged. And we take the paperwork and the small print seriously. There are signatures, there's agreements, there's times and dates, like specific times when we can announce that we've seen a film or what our thoughts are on it. So yeah, it was kind of secret. So I didn't know that Gibbs was going. I knew that Paul was going there because I already saw that he was in London, and I sort of put two and two together.
Yeah.
But yeah, got to Warner Brothers offices in London and then saw Gibbs, and I was like, yes, I get to see this with Gibbs as well, because we've always seen these big films together.
We have.
Yeah, it was a great experience.
It's unreal that you know, being fans, dude. I did feel like I did want to cry, because when that email came through and you're like, oh, and I asked the wife, could you just read this again, please? Because
just in case.
This doesn't happen on a regular, like on a normal day basis. Like we are a month ahead of what was coming out.
Yeah,
and
it was great. Yeah, I mean, it's given us time to do this, to help with their marketing, to help with their branding. We know that we are sort of very small cogs in the big wheel that is Warner Brothers and DC Comics, but we are still valued to be a part of it.
Exactly.
Because whenever I get to go to Warner Brothers offices in London, that's always going to be a big deal. It's something that I never want to be not exciting.
Exactly.
They've got, obviously, it looks from the outside like your classic London office, big glass windows, security guard on the front desk. And then they say, oh, go and wait down the corridor. And you think, okay, this is just some regular chairs down there. It's very fancy. No, they've got superhero statues. They've got props from movies. They've got massive posters and dioramas. And it's just like, this is just the lobby. Yeah. And yeah, so the day I doubt it will ever happen. But the day when I'm not excited to go to Warner Brothers offices will be a day that I'm long gone, because it's always such an honor and so much fun to go there.
Always is, always will be, and you're right. It's a feeling that I don't want to like. I love that excitement, and I was waiting because I remember when I did see your guys' faces, I was like, these guys are, let me surprise them. Anyway, great surprise. And then we all, had a quick 20 minutes before we went in and get to watch the Batman. Oh my God. I mean, what was your initial thoughts, dude? Because we had our moments in between the movie, but I mean, your overall...
we did.
Yeah.
It's overall, I mean, I had an amazing time. From the moment we sat down in the cinema, the screens opened, and this, but before we get into it, this is going to be spoiler-free, Kibbs. Is that right?
Yes, spoiler-free.
Spoiler-free. Last 10 minutes, we will give you plenty of warnings, but the whole cinema that we were in just lit up with this red screen. And from that moment on, I just went on an incredible, edgy ride. I mean, yes, it was gritty, it was tense, it was a thriller. There are some genuinely scary scenes, but for a Batman comic book film, I've not seen anything like this in such a long time. And it was, I mean, coming back on the train that night, I've got my trusty Daily Planet book. Now, this is filled with spoilers and notes and writing that I can't even read myself because I was that excited to write it down. But I had my thoughts. I had my initial thoughts about what I saw that night and what I felt that night, because this film truly just grabs you from the opening scene, which was tense, and simply didn't let go. And that was due to all the elements of the film. That's the story, the directing, the cast, the music, the sound effects, and everything that came along with it. And I am seeing more marketing now, more extra scenes in the trailers, which is great, because I'm seeing those and remembering the scenes that we've seen. That's right. And it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that bit, and I can't wait to see that part happen. There's twists and turns throughout that whole movie, and I went in, as always, watching a film with a clear head. I wanted to be taken away on somebody else's story, somebody else's adventure. Right. And Matt Reeves and the whole cast of that film have just created something in such a difficult time that is just so masterful, I feel. I mean, it's a bloody big word to use, but all the elements that you would go to the cinema to see a film, you get entertainment, you get action, you get romance in some states, but you get character development. And yes, it's a 3-hour film, and some naysayers have already started moaning about that. And it didn't feel like 4 hours at all. I wanted more.
Same here.
Yeah.
By the time it was like, we're like, what the hell? 3 hours is gone. What happened? I mean, that's what happens. Yeah. When you go in with a clear mind.
And that's it. I mean, I got taken at the moment. Obviously, with this situation, we all had to sort of hand over our phones and put them into special little bags, for safety reasons, which is fine. I'm not going to risk anything like this getting out. Never. I travel a few hours to get to London, but I always will travel for events like this. But I knew that there were a lot of works happening on the train lines that night, and I'd be getting back at about 1 o'clock if I didn't get a certain train home. And when I got there, I think my first question to our contacts at Warner Brothers was, is there a post-credit scene? If there's not a post-credit scene, I'm going to jump up and politely make my exit. And they said no. But then they went, oh, hang on. No, there is something. And I was like, okay, now I don't care about losing any sleep and getting a late train home. Exactly. And I was right in thinking that, because I didn't get any sleep that night anyway, because I was thinking about this film and the impression that it left on me. So, short answer to that question, Kibbs, is yes, I did like it. You're going to get me talking about this film, and I won't. Well, no, I mean
this is the main thing about it, because I haven't had nobody to speak to. I haven't had nobody to speak to. Like my brothers are, my youngest brother, he's the biggest Batman fan in the family. he has a Batman shrine in his house where he was like, so you're going to tell me anything? And I'm like, I can't.
Nope.
I'm sorry, I can't. And I mean, what I took from that movie was the different levels and depths that it had in it. And I was like, hey, man, like, you know, you go back to the source material and you look at something like The Long Halloween and Hush, and you're like, you know, these are detective stories. This is Batman in its best.
Yes.
And this is like, we got that.
We did. And that's, I mean, I've always loved that about when those times when Superman and Batman have worked together. It is a double act. There's detective work. You know,
that's right.
Batman is there with like his little gadgets, whether it be tweezers or a magnifying glass or some sort of gadget that he's got. And in this,
our thoughts about the movie and how we felt after. And as you said, it's where each characters took us to different places in the movie as well, which was absolutely amazing. But dude, I wanted to ask you, because I know we didn't get to chat like straight away after we left because everybody had to go their separate ways.
Yeah, we did. It was late.
And I think everybody missed trains and travel and trying to get back. I think I missed my last train as well. So I took another.
I think, Tasman was there as well. So Tasman had to get a later train. And it was, but we didn't care because we were just like, we were on the very peak of this roller coaster and we're still like there.
That's right.
Can't wait to see it again. So anyway, you had a question. What do you want to ask me about it?
What I wanted to ask you, dude, was Patterson. Your thoughts?
Now, I think in my family anyway, we're all like obsessed with something. Me, obviously, it's Superman. And yes, sometimes the word obsessed can be used by the lazy to describe the passionate. I feel that is very true. But my sister was honestly obsessed with Robert Pattinson and the Twilight series. That whole generation of book readers that got into the movies. And I wasn't a huge fan of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously that is a big part of his past and the reason why he is an actor. And people were worried because they only associate him with those films. But since that film came out, like almost 20 years ago,
looking at 20,
over 15 years ago,
15, yeah.
He's done so much and proved his chops as an amazing actor. And again, it's a little bit of the patriotic Brit in me is the fact that we keep on going over to America and taking their superhero roles. We've had Bale, we've had Cavill, now we've got Pattinson. You know, it's one of those things, but we are a nation of, you know, thespians and actors. And Robert Pattinson has done an amazing job with this film. And when we can share our podcasts and our reviews, I've talked about this a lot in the fact that he just did an amazing job. And from the moment, what I loved about this film, when we were at Fandom the first time around, and we got a glimpse of the Batman, and there's that scene where he says, "I'm vengeance" for the first time, and he does those 1-2 combos. That is fighting that is straight out of like the Arkham video games.
That's right.
That is a mere blip of what we see of him in this film. And yes, we know there are stunt doubles in that movie, but the acting that comes from both Bruce Wayne and Batman that Robert puts out there is just insane. And
no, definitely is.
I mean, I've said this in one of my articles and reviews, is that for a lot of people, Robert is going to be their new favorite Batman. Now, I've always had my favorite people over the years, and it always changes. Same goes for people that have played Superman. But at the moment, I'm most impressed, put it that way, by what Robert Pattinson has brought to this role, both as action, both as Batman and being a detective and being a fighter, being someone that is doubting themselves in this life that he has chosen to put into the world. And yeah, we know Batman's origin story. We've seen his mum and dad get shot countless times. We don't need to see that anymore.
No, that's right.
Even saw it. Right. We saw it in the Teen Titans movie, like twice when they affected the space-time continuum. But in this film, it didn't. It's his second year as Batman. It's not really an origin story, but we see him make mistakes. We see him learn from his mistakes. We see what makes him become a better Batman. And I've got a lot of respect for Pattinson in this, because he did a fantastic job, and he is going to prove a lot of people wrong. Some people won't want to be proven wrong. They will just go in that film with their own mindset, and those people sometimes they're not willing to take on new things.
That's
so
right.
Everyone, as always, is equal to their opinion. We are on the internet. We know now how opinions work. Some people are louder than others. But as long as you go in there and enjoy this film, or at least go in there with a clean mind, you're going to enjoy this film for sure.
No.
And Pattinson is a big reason why this film will be a success.
He's great. He's absolutely great. To be honest, I think ever since Heath Ledger, I've never kind of like doubted people's abilities. Actually, you know what, saying that, I'm going to go way back. And even though I was probably 9 years old at the time, but when they casted, like now looking at Michael Keaton as Batman, you know, before the internet, and you know, the newspapers would say, like, they're going to pick a comedian to play this character. And he pulled it off so well.
Yeah,
like,
and that's it.
And this is what Pattinson brings to this role. He brings this intense feeling with him. Like, you can feel the burden on his shoulder, man. I was like, oh man, Bruce, you're really making me feel for you right now. But he was like, he's angry still. He's very angry still.
And that's it. I think that's credit to the writing, the directing, and the acting as well, is that we see so many different sides of Batman in this, as you should. You see his point of view, you see why he's doing this, you see the point of view from the police, you see the point of view from the public, you see his perceptions from the thugs and gangsters of Gotham City. And all that plays out so perfectly throughout the movie with the camera shots and the music and the sound effects, as that you know when there's going to be mystery happening, you know when there's going to be action happening, and you know when there's going to be thrills happening. The use of music in this, and not only music but sound effects, just, I want to see this on the biggest and most loudest screen possible, so I can feel those footsteps again. When you hear his boots stepping through puddles and stepping out of subway carts, and it's crazy to think about it, but he's got the sounds of like cowboy boots, like spurs on the back of his heels. It's a big suit, but it moves well, but it sounds beautiful. We know Batman can be stealthy, and he is in this movie, but if I was a criminal in Gotham City of all places, and I saw that light go up in the sky, and they mention this in the film, you know, this isn't necessarily just a calling signal for Batman. This is a warning for the underbelly of Gotham to maybe reconsider their actions. And Batman does not go soft on these criminals and the disruption that is the criminal underbelly of Gotham City. And a very juicy Batman to sink your teeth into, that's for sure. Definitely.
The footsteps, dude. That is something that's stuck with me. And like, I think an element of what Matt Reeves brought in from like what the spaghetti Western culture into bringing it into this sort of type of genre of movie, like, it's nuts. I mean, I've got an overall thought that I'm going to share with you later on, because I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to think. But
good man.
It's powerful, man. Because you could see that in a comic book when he's walking into the Batcave, or when he's walking, you know, he's walking alone into something that not many people would walk into. He's taking those steps. They're like, each step kind of represents that I'm coming, I'm going to do something, and I'm, you know, this is me right now.
But I'm doing it on my terms.
On my,
and that's the opening scene of the film, without going into too much spoilers. It's all POV, so you don't know who's looking through the camera's eyes, as it were. But when we do finally get to see Batman for the first time, and you see his reveal, it's like, it doesn't. It happens pretty quick on in the film, and it's something that was powerful. And going back and talking about that scene that we saw at Fandome of him on the subway, it's like from that moment on, you just want to see that suit as much as you possibly can, because when you do see it, you know stuff's going to happen. But yeah, we see him emerge from the dark, but you hear him first of all, and combine that with that bloody score, which is just makes you rattle. You both want Batman to come out quicker, but you also want to ride that level of suspense just a bit longer. You want to chase that high for as long as you can. But the action in this film was insane. And yeah, the fighting especially. There were about, I'll say about 7 people maybe 8 people with us in the theater.
Yeah,
and we were all making our own different sounds of surprise and excitement. We were getting hollowed up and excited, and there was movement and cheering, and there was at one point like that. I do have to apologize to you a little bit later on, and we'll get to that part in the spoiler section. But basically, I punched Kibler in the arm. He was right next to me, and I thought we were socially distanced, but I was getting so agitated. I swung my arm out and I cracked him right.
Broke the rules. You broke the rules.
I was like, I can't. I had my mask on, but I was so excited. I mean, we'll explain why the whole audience was excited at that. But yeah, just for 3 hours, it didn't feel like that. It just felt like,
of course not. I mean,
and that was the story, the effects, the character build up, the storyline, and where you think it might go and where it didn't go, and just. Oh,
it's a vast story, and it was a question I was going to ask just after this, was that because they bring in a lot of characters into this, it's probably one of the most they've brought into a Batman movie.
I think so. I mean, obviously, yes, we've seen several villains in a film at some point over the years. We've seen, like the Riddler and the Two-Face both sharing the screen, and then like you've got like characters like the Mr. Freeze coming into it, and it's all going on. But in this one, you had names that villains that characters that all coming in, and it was their first movie together. So you don't know how their chemistry is going to work out. You don't know if they're going to work well together. But they did. There's lots of partnerships in this film, whether it be with Batman and Catwoman, or Batman and the Riddler, or Batman and the Penguin.
That's right.
They all have their own dance, and
it's wicked. Yeah,
that's how I felt a lot of the movie played out, was especially with Batman and Catwoman. Their fighting scenes and their scenes when they're racing bikes through Gotham City. It's like a dance. They're sort of trying to one up each other all the time.
That's right.
And the chemistry between those two in this film was just delightful. I love that.
Well, that's what I was going to get onto next, because I genuinely loved what Zoe Kravitz did with the character of Selena Kyle. I think she played, the strength really well, but the vulnerable side of what she's brought to this character as well.
Yeah.
And she was astonishing, dude. Like she really, you could see both of them just steal the scene when they're together, and you're like, come on, man. It's too much.
Yeah. And again, she looked fantastic. She was agile. She was a great fighter. She had the costume. She had the sass and the attitude of Selena Kyle, but it wasn't too forced. Like there weren't too many cat puns. But there was still that charm, and she was very smooth with it. I think there's one line where Batman's in her very sort of messy apartment, and there's cats around his feet, and he says, "You like cats?" And she says, "I've got a thing for strays." Whilst looking at Bruce, I'm thinking, "Oh, that's a good line." Clearly, the sexual chemistry between the two was quite palpable throughout a lot of the film, but just their, I think, intrigue for each other showed a lot as well, just because they're two people doing the same sort of thing in Gotham. And but it was all balanced well. There weren't sort of I wish there were more scenes of Batman and the Penguin, or more scenes of Batman and the Riddler. As you said before, it was a lot like a comic. Some of the framing up of the scenes and the settings, and going from one scene to another scene, it was like the film was spread out over maybe 4 or 5 comics, because there's lots of locations in the film. and they all work so well. They've got their own speed and they've got their own storytelling elements, but it was something that I want to see again soon, so I can just remember how I felt the first time and see how that trans over, because I've not seen a superhero film like this in quite some time. I've seen horror films like it that are quite similar, because the element of chills in this film were there throughout. Paul Dano as the Riddler was just, he wasn't charming. I don't want to say charming, but he was captivating.
He was.
I wanted to
Very.
see more of that for sure. Oh,
No,
chills.
he was very, like I was going to say, with the Riddler, and, you know, he plays a big part to the story. And the way it's done is just menacingly fun, bro. It was just he put the work in. You can, and it shows you how much work he put into it as what it meant to him to do, bringing this out. It was just nuts, absolutely nuts.
As sort of, you know, in films like this, you know who to root for, you know who to boo on the screen. And anytime when you would hear that Riddler theme come in again, you know, okay, hold on to your seats, because there's going to be something more dastardly happening soon. And because of the Riddler, I feel that was the reason why this film in the UK especially got that 15 rating. It's up there. It's quite rare for that to happen.
That's right.
And there were some very terrifying scenes, terrifying scenes rather. But the use of him as this dastardly villain was done very well. And the fact, if in the future, I hope this happens, I got to speak with the wonderful Paul Dano about this, I would love to know, you're in this film, the film that's been waited, we've been waiting for it for so long. The world has been so excited and anticipated about it. We don't get to see your face that much. Yeah. How is your agent feeling about that? You know, you've got this you're on all the posters, you're on all the trailers, you're in most of the film. We don't see your face. And Paul Dano is, you know, he's a fantastic actor. And as you said, yeah, he has put in the work for this film. And those scenes, whether it be him filming a piece to camera himself or those scenes with Batman, this isn't your classic Riddler. Yes, there are riddles in the film which were done perfectly well.
Very well.
Lots of sort of feelings of going back to films like Seven and those classic crime thrillers of the early 2000s and late 90s.
That's right.
You want to get into the mind of this maniac in some scenes, and you want to know what makes them tick. And we do find out, and it was a fantastic part of the story without me going too much into it. But Paul Dano as the Riddler was well worth the wait. We don't get sort of that classic cartoon-like laugh that we've had in films over the years, but there were cackles there. There were definitely lots of power in his performance.
There was.
And
there was.
chilling scenes for sure. People are going to really enjoy that.
They will. I mean, you picked up something really well there about like early crime thriller movies from like the early 2000s. Like I did, when I got out of Warner Brothers that day, all I could think of was like Along Came a Spider and Seven, and all these movies came flashing to me, and I was like, I love how he's kind of used this as an inspiration to bring this into, because I wouldn't call this a superhero movie.
Again, you know, probably going to get some hate for this, but I've always felt Batman as a fantastic comic book character. He's not a superhero as such. Yes, he's got supreme amounts of intelligence. He's got the gadgets. He's got the funding to back it up. He's got the know-how and the, you know, just perseverance to do what he's doing in his own time.
That's right.
But it doesn't, as you say, it doesn't feel like a superhero movie. It's got those elements of a film like John Wick, for example. You know, it's got that, you know, this guy that's just had enough. He's got to the breaking point where he's just got to get something done. You see those elements. Again, it's, as we said, it's year 2. This is early stages of Batman.
That's right.
He's learning from his mistakes and learning what Batman means. And I think that's why, you know, there have been some some people have said, well, what's it called The Batman for? He's never been called The Batman. Right now, he's a brand new thing that is in Gotham City. People are saying the Batman's back. Not just, oh, Batman's back. We're on first name terms here. Oh, Batman's coming over to solve some crime. No, it is the Batman. The Batman. And that, I feel that just added word on the title adds more presence to the character and what we see in this film. But yeah,
no, of course,
it's true crime. It's a crime movie. It's like a film noir. There's thrills and chills, and there's a mystery in there that you can almost, when you're following the riddles and solving the riddles, and you're trying to get your own corkboard with the old red string and trying to pin these two people together as to how their paths have intertwined over the years. And yeah, I loved the Riddler. I thought it was fantastic. Scary, but fantastic.
Very grounded, dude. Very grounded.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Batman has come a long way. And to get a movie kind of, you know, Christopher Nolan did, you know, grounded and reality, and, you know, gave us something a bit more closer to home. And this, I just feel like it went that extra grittiness and took us even down further, you know.
It did. And I mean, it's a risky move to do, because people sometimes they want to go to see a superhero movie for some escapism. And there's a lot of elements to this film that are close to home with some people. People are going to know things about it. But I was very grateful to be able to have be a part of a round table session with Matt Reeves a few days after the event. And I mean, that's something that, again, more things that I wasn't allowed to say at the time, but now that is out there. And again, questions in this book that, and again, there were journalists from all over the world, and I was just honored to be there. And I wanted to ask him so much, but then this has gone out after the embargoes have lifted, but they said, in your interview, you cannot announce to your listeners or your readers that you've seen the film. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to just cross out all these questions and write something else. So I did, and I mean, it was his answers that he gave were fantastic. And I mean, I think I got like one question in, and he gave me like a 4-minute answer, and that just goes to show the passion that it comes out of him. And I wanted to know, it's lazy journalism, I feel, but anybody that has something to do with Superman or has drawn or written Superman, I like to ask them, what does Superman mean to you? Because it's always a different answer, because that character means something different to everybody.
That's right.
So I asked Matt Reeves what the Batman meant to him, and I was hoping for a good answer. I was out thinking, please give something good, not just like, oh, it's a paycheck. But he wouldn't have ever said that, because the man just has passion for cinema.
That's right.
And films. And he talks about the fact that he's been a Batman fan his whole life, going back to the campiness of the Adam West show and everything in between.
Yeah.
And I read recently that Pattinson has worn all the Batman suits for this film, but not the Adam West suit, which is quite. I would have liked to have seen him in that, because he's got that stature and build of a young Adam West, so he could have done it well.
Could have done it. He could have. That would have been brilliant.
But speaking with him about this film, yes, obviously I had so many other questions that I wanted to ask, but it meant talking about the film that I hadn't seen in a way. So I was grateful to be able to sort of thank him for what we've seen so far when it came to the trailers and things like that. But the man definitely gets the source material. He knows, going back to those early comics, that he is, you brought this up, he is a detective. That is what he is first. He is a crime scene analyst. And he's doing a better job than the police force of Gotham City.
That's right.
And if this is just his year 2, I want to see his year 4. I want to see his year 6. I want to see what else can be brought into this world. Because without going into spoilers too much, yes, we've seen Catwoman, we've seen the Penguin in this, we've seen the Riddler, we've seen some of that, the gangs of Gotham City. But what I need to see more of, the thing that made me just go crazy in the theater, was that Batmobile. Now, this is something we've seen very briefly in the marketing of this film. That is perfect, because I'm always a fan of the Batmobile, whether they're stupidly long or stupidly robust, like the Tumbler. They are a part of Batman, just as part of the cape is a part of Superman, is a part of him.
That's right.
And this one in this film, I don't want to talk about when it gets revealed too much for the first time, because we as an audience just lost it. The moment you hear it start up, and when you see it start to move, was just Now I'm putting this out there because I'm a big fan of manifestation, and that things happen because we want them to happen. Is that you and I have both been invited to an event this coming week. If it doesn't happen, you can cut this part out because it's going to be too depressing to hear it back. The thing is, it might happen, which gives us a little glimmer of hope. That's the fact that, yes, we have been invited to see the Batmobile in London at an event. And we're waiting to hear back. We've been like, it's the weekend. So obviously emails don't really happen at the weekend, but like, we're like kids the day before our birthdays. We're like, oh, have we got the thing that we really want to see? And I mean, yes, we've been very fortunate so far to be able to have seen this film, but to also see this Batmobile would just be the cherry on the cake, because I truly feel this film's going to do really, really well, just from the initial reactions that aren't even out there just now. Just the hype for the movie is present, just from the fact that the marketing behind this film has been done in a big way, in a way we've not seen in a few good years.
Exactly. It's been a while. I mean, recently, Warner Brothers and DC UK Comics put out your hype message.
Yes.
Which, man, dude, absolutely amazing. And
I mean, I've had like my name, as it were. I mean, I think the Geek of Steel and Luke Bug are like intertwined now. I can't shift it, and the Geek of Steel can't shift me. So I've got that superhero element now, where I've got an alias, but it's also got that fact that of Tony Stark to it. That I'm like, I am Iron Man. Yeah, what's it got? This is where I've come from.
That's right.
But it's the fact that we've always been fans from the beginning, and it's never been more of like, we've had the naysayers over the years. You say, oh, you're being paid to review a movie? I was like, I wish I was. That would be fantastic. We've all got day jobs. We've all got families and responsibilities, but we enjoy this passion that we don't mind taking sacrifices of, swapping a shift with a colleague at work. Because like this week, I've not been the most favorite colleague at work, I don't think, because I've been trying to call in like all the favors, but it's worked out. Work, if you're listening, I'm a big fan. Sarah, my boss, if you're listening, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
She's really helped me shift some things around. But again, and I'm doing more shifts and I'm swapping things around because I'm grateful for the opportunity, but grateful for the people that make it happen.
That's right.
And people like you who we meet along the way.
No, of course.
Going back to that marketing, we've not seen anything like it. It's everywhere. And I've seen some of the things that are coming out in America.
Dude.
This is possibly my favorite Batman cowl. I love the form of it. I love the fact that we can see the stitching and it looks like a skull. You can see the indents of his temples. And that is a popcorn bucket in America. I've asked so many people already, like, look, I will pay for the shipping. You can buy two, you can keep one, just send the other one to me because I need it in my life. And that, again, I've already had some people say, but Luke, you're a Superman fan. Yes, but I still love the world of comic book characters and comic book heroes and villains. And I'm not going to get my Superman card taken away as such by saying the fact that I had a fantastic time with this Batman film.
Same.
I will keep on shouting it from the rooftops as soon as I'm allowed to.
Exactly.
But yeah, seeing that the Geek of Steel's quote, "The Bat is back." They asked us for a few sort of little quotes, and that was one that I gave. And yeah, and I think DC World got one, and the aspiring for Tony Tasman.
That's right.
And it was on Lad Bible yesterday.
I know, I saw it as well, dude.
That like, I mean, Lad Bible's been around now for like a good few years, and I can remember it when it first came out as just a page on Facebook that would share viral news. It would take news, make it their own, and then put it all over the internet.
That's right.
But now they're promoting these big films, and they've used my name, as it were, on a post. I was like, what?
Nice.
And that I've got some people at work mentioning that, people that follow the Lad Bible, but necessarily not follow the Geek of Steel. And they were like, is the Geek of Steel, has that got something to do with you? I'm like there at work in my uniform with like all these Geek of Steel badges, repping the brand whilst at work. Oh yes, the Geek of Steel, that is me. Thank you very much. So yeah, it's been a fantastic way of marketing this film. I just hope they don't show too much more when it comes to the trailers and things like that. I don't think they will, because that element of surprise that comes with the action in this film,
it's nuts.
It's the fighting, especially. We didn't see much of that in the trailers, but Batman in this suit can move. He can move well. He's got gadgets. He's got weapons. He's got stamina. And I think people are really going to enjoy the way that he fights in this film. That's for sure. They're going to love it.
No, dude. I mean, again, pulling back from the Arkham the Arkham games.
Yes.
You know, you could see some of the inspiration being pulled from that as well. But one thing that I loved about what Matt did in his direction to this was the way he pulled the camera out.
Oof. So
don't get me wrong, there's a couple of Batman movies where they've got the camera, it's almost like too close and you can't see too much going on. It's too much. Yeah. I think in my old age, my eyes can't keep moving everywhere.
There's that certain scene where he's there with the Joker in the room, where is she? It's all very in your face and very sort of, I think at that time, a lot of TV shows and movies were doing it on the handheld cameras.
It was really
getting
close
in your
up.
face.
Yeah.
And it makes you a little bit dizzy if it going too quick. But no, as you said, there are long shots in this film that go even further back. There's one, I think, in the first scene where he's investigating a crime scene, and like the police haven't seen anything, and then it pulls back, and like Batman's like, "Well, you've missed this on the floor," and then he walks over to it, and you see those boots move, and that focus pull onto that. I was like, okay, I'm a part of this film now. This camera work has dragged me in. So seeing that, any of this film on an IMAX screen is going to make it insane. It's going to
Thursday,
be,
dude. Yeah. Hopefully Thursday.
You know, that's the thing. We're looking forward to that. Again, we've been invited to a screening in London for this with a multimedia screening, as it were, and they're always fun to go to. Not just to be able to go back and be in the cinema again, but to meet up with all these UK bloggers and you know, and these journalists that love this world of entertainment. But just like when we mentioned this before, I got to see Shazam like 1 or 2 days before you. I then got to see the film with you, and I was just sitting back watching the audience. And that was a question that I brought up with Matt Reeves. I was like, I'm excited to watch the audience react to this film. And he said, this is a film that is going to get people back into the cinemas, but to sit back and we're going to hear the gasps. I think, especially in the UK, we're not like big on sharing our emotion when it comes to watching a film or watching an event, or we're the sort of country that if we land in America on the plane, we don't applaud. That's something that the Brits don't do. That's the old school stiff upper lip. But after this film ended, we all clapped. We all, and I mean, it's just something that goes to show that it was an exciting experience that we all enjoyed. And I can't wait to be in a cinema and listen and hear and see the audience react to this film. And again, fingers crossed, that will be happening this Thursday as well, because we've been invited to that multimedia screening after seeing the Batmobile. So it's going to be a crazy week. I'm ready for it. I'm not going to sleep. It's Sunday right now. I'm probably not going to sleep until it finally happens.
It'll be Friday next week till we sleep, basically.
Yeah, I think so. I'm ready for it.
Dude, a few more questions before we, because I think one role that really took it to a different level, to not even know who it was. Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I mean, his performance, dude.
I've always loved Danny DeVito. Going back, to Twins, going back to Romance in the Stone, going back to just the comedies of the 80s.
That's right.
And even him being in Taxi, he's such a comedic character, and I loved him as the Penguin. And when it was announced that Farrell would be playing the Penguin again, you're thinking, well, he's a good-looking dude, and he always plays. Obviously, he plays to his skills. He's Irish. He's sassy. He's got attitude. I loved him when he was in Daredevil with Affleck. I thought he was fantastic as Bullseye.
He was.
But we've seen him only in the trailers so far, in that car chasing scene. I absolutely loved the Penguin in this. He's a scary villain. We don't find out too much about why he's a little bit disfigured and walks with a limp. Yes, he does look a little bit like a penguin, but clearly he doesn't like it when he's called the Penguin. It's a name that he's not really proud of yet. But Colin Farrell as the Penguin was just, you didn't know what was going to come out of his mouth next, whether it be an insult, a threat, or just full out rage. He reminded me so much of Robert De Niro in The Untouchables when he was playing Al Capone. He's got those moments where he's very calm and suave and a classic nightclub owner. And then the next moment he's caving somebody's head with a baseball bat. and then he can just stop, adjust his tie, and then go back into charming mode. He had that sort of New York gruff accent, which was fantastic. He was, a wise guy, but clearly someone that has gone up through the ranks and done every dirty deed along the way to get his foot on those blood-stained ladders of that steps. But I loved him. He was really good. I would have liked more. Now, obviously, there are bigger characters and bigger villains in this film to focus our attention on. But the moments when the Joker appeared, I was like, okay, this is going to be another good scene. He definitely added that needed humor to the scenes, that added attitude, and that added element of like, this is a bad guy that I don't want to root for, but I don't want to see him thrown in prison just yet. I want to see him upset Batman some more. I want to see him upset the Gotham Police Department. I want to see him just be that character, because that's what the Penguin has always been. Whether it's been going back to the Adam West series or DeVito, is that he's this funny character that you just don't really know too much about.
That's right.
And I think by not giving him too much of an origin story, I mean, yes, I would love it if this film got a sequel or went somewhere else, but I would love to see Farrell back as the Penguin, because he was just such a bizarre character, but likable for the wrong reasons, that's for sure.
Just thinking, I'm sure HBO are working on something.
If they are, just let him continue that role.
Yeah, well, so from what I heard and what I read was they're going to do like it's going to be based on Commissioner Gordon and the Penguin.
Now, that's something we can dive into next, because that.
I mean, that's something happening, but bro, Commissioner, not Commissioner.
He's not Commissioner yet. I did call him Commissioner 3 times in my review as well, but I mean, he's got the chops there to be Commissioner.
He has.
But again, this is early on in Batman's career, so we don't really see that too much. But yes,
Jeffrey Wright, man, Jeffrey Wright.
My goodness,
he's so good.
It's just he's got that persona of your stereotypical 1970s, 1980s cop. That he's been up all night drinking coffee and stale donuts. He's been doing the stakeouts. He's been putting in all the overtime.
Yeah.
He wants to be there, but also wants to be at home or at a bar or anywhere else.
That's
right. He's got his finger on the pulse when it comes to detective work and when it comes to seeing the potential in Batman.
That's so good.
Seeing that relationship build throughout the film, it's a slow burn. But it worked so well, seeing them come together. There's one scene that I want to talk about, but we'll talk about when we get to the spoiler warning moment I will get to that because there's a scene between those two in the police department, which was just so he knows. Yeah, Gibbs knows what I'm talking about. But seeing those two together act out in certain scenes, again, it was more of a dance between those two, like it was a dance with Catwoman and Batman. There's a good cop, bad cop scene with the Penguin, and you don't know who's the good cop and who's the bad cop. They both just want answers, and they work so well off of each other. And I loved Jeffrey Wright in this and what he brought, that gruff role of being this tired detective that still just has not a passion to eliminate crime as such, but knows how crime works and knows that he wants to dig deeper and get the truth out of why these criminals are doing these things.
That's right.
And yeah, I think he was a perfect choice for playing Gordon in this. So
it was absolutely good. It was absolutely good. And look, I don't want to leave anybody behind. And Alfred's my guy. He's my go-to guy. Oh my God, Andy Serkis as Alfred. Really, he's the heart of this one.
Again, more Brits representing, but Andy Serkis, he's worked with Matt Reeves in the past, going back to the Apes movies, and you can see why you would want to take this person on with you onto your next project.
Yeah.
It's like finding that perfect classmate who always works well on that project together. You're thinking, I hope somebody doesn't nab this guy first before we get to work together again.
Exactly.
It's a completely different role for Andy. We've seen him as King Kong, we've seen him as Gollum, we've seen him as Schmeagol.
Yeah.
In this one, he's compassionate, he's caring, he's a little bit disappointed, it seems. It's I've mentioned this a lot, the fact that it is the year 2 of the Batman. That's what I'm trying to get that drummed into people's heads, is that this isn't an origin story, this is early days. And Alfred owes a lot to Thomas and Martha Wayne, and the fact that he's looking after their boy. He's their last line to their family.
That's right.
And I mean, we've seen the Pennyworth TV series, and it's been great. I would love to see Andy Serkis as just going into this Pennyworth role with all he's got, because he was superb. Superb. Again, it was more quiet scenes we got to see with him and Bruce.
That's right.
And we needed that. This film can't deliver this much levels of excitement for 3 hours, because you would be a physical and emotional wreck by the end of it. And I feel some of the more quieter scenes with Alfred and with Selena, it helps just bring you down to a softer level. But definitely what we saw of Alfred and Bruce Wayne in this were beautiful, heartfelt scenes. And it's always fun to see someone that is on Batman's almost same level of intelligence, but still respected by Bruce Wayne. I think there was like a certain scene where Bruce says to Alfred, "You're not my father. Why are you acting like my father?" And I was like, oh, take that knife out of the back of Andy's back. Oh, but it was, I'm being greedy, but this film was 3 hours long, and yet I didn't feel I had enough of those two together. Yet they had so many scenes together.
They did.
Even though, this film really does deliver when it comes to storyline and action and everything, you are still left wanting more.
It's nuts, isn't it? Absolutely nuts that he could do. Because I recently did a review for Batman Returns and complimented how Tim Burton got to fit a couple of origin stories, a complex story about how to frame Batman, and then give us a great ending to that. Yeah. And I'm like, that's several characters. And then I was thinking about this one, and I was like, hey man, he's thrown in so much. I can't keep up because of the amount of characters that he's put into it. But he's made me understand each character. He's made me feel that character. He's really paced it really well. And as you said, the highs and lows we need that, because it'd be like a really bad trip if we just kept on revving up higher and higher. By the end, we'd be like, what the hell is going on? He really set the tones.
But that's what you get. I mean, you get action pretty much early on in this film, but when it comes, again, spoiling stuff, the third act, when that kicks off, when the suspense hits, when everything starts getting revealed as to why these people and their lives are being connected, it's very, not intimidating, but the suspense in the film is so much that you just can't take your thoughts off the film. You can't take your eyes away from the film. And everything with that music combined, and the action that you're getting, and the feelings that you get because you are getting to know these characters more and you're wanting to find out more about them, it just feels, in a way, I mean, yes, I've had experiences in the past where a film has truly grabbed me when I've watched it on the big screen. Film is like seeing like something like Gladiator, something like an epic like that just grabs you from the moment it starts off. With this film, it seems to grab just a little bit harder in a way. It's something that just was a fantastic experience to be a part of. And that's what I'm really looking forward to hearing more from other people when they get to see it, of that moment of, look, turn your phones off, sit down, brace yourself. Don't pay for the whole chair because you're only going to sit on the edge of it. It's just, you're going to be taken on a trip with this film.
Exactly.
And it's got beauty, it's got action. We've seen one particular clip online where we do see Batman fly, as it were, when his flying suit appears. We know that happens now because the Funko's been released. But that moment, what I love about Batman in films, whenever it happens, is you get that pivotal moment where he's on a gargoyle, or he's on the edge of a crane, or he's on the edge of a really tall office building. And we don't get to see that in this film that much. But there is one scene where we were just like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's on the roof. He's going to jump off. He's going to use a grapple gun, or he's going to use a glider. He's going to use something. And he did. And I'll be honest, I've not been that excited in a superhero sequence since I saw the first time Henry Cavill flew in that flight scene in Man of Steel. And the two scenes back to back, when you see it, you will notice the resemblance of First Flight and First Glide, as it were,
that's right.
with Robert in this. But it was exciting to watch. It was thrilling, and it's fast, and you're thinking, yeah, okay, this is like, you think in that moment, this is the most exciting part of the film. But as with all of this film, I was proven wrong on many, many occasions.
There's so much to it. There's so much to it. All right, I just want to give a quick honorable mention to Michael Giacchino, who did the soundtrack for this movie. I think it's absolutely amazing. I've had it on my phone and played it on repeat probably 1,000 times already. It's
been one of those ones where I was trying to sort of on the train home write a few notes down, and I had the music in my headphones, trying to be sly without making sure that nobody around me was reading my notes or what I was writing about. And then you just get lost in the music and thinking, it's, and now he's released the Catwoman theme as well, and it all just,
it's lovely.
There's not much music in the film apart from the score, which is what you want.
That's right.
I mean, yes, I mean the classic hymn Ave Maria is used a lot in different variations, and that works so well. But just that, when we first hear that Batman theme, that boom, boom, I say, oh my. So it just gets you right there. Just, you can feel it vibrate through your whole body. But yes, massive shout out to the whole sound department.
I think it's, I'm trying to remember if I'm correct, but director of photography, is it Gary Fraser or Greg Fraser? Greg Fraser.
Yes, Greg Fraser. Yes,
Greg Fraser. Okay, and he's done some amazing films, and I'm a visuals guy, so the way he lit some of the scenes. He made it look like a comic book. He made it gorgeous. I love that to bits. I remember coming home and I was like, who did this? Like, I need to find out. And as soon as I found out, I was like, oh my God, he's got such a great catalogue of movies that he's done. But it's the look and feel to what he gave to that as well. And I think Matt Reeves and all the people that work in post-productions, dude, you remember like when he was in Wayne Manor, Wayne Manor or
it's not even Wayne Manor. It's because it's like Gotham. It's like
Gotham
Wayne
Tower, right? Yeah, Wayne Tower.
It looked like a cathedral.
It looked gorgeous. Like some of the sceneries and the sets, I was like, man, that the decor looked amazing, and it gave us that.
Point we both looked at each other and we were like talking about architecture, like we were on Grand Designs or something. Like we knew what we were talking about, but it looked gorgeous.
Yeah,
I have pre-ordered the art of this movie, but because that's going to be so interesting to learn more about not only where this was filmed. We know a lot of it was in the beautiful Scotland, but yeah, looking at the interiors of some of these buildings.
So good.
There's a church. There's everything in this film, but yeah, I mean, Gotham to me, as Metropolis to me, is always going to be, when it comes to weather. I feel that Metropolis always feels like late spring, early summer.
That's right.
It's light, it's sunny, it's fresh, it's clean. And then obviously with Gotham, as it always has been in the films and in the TV series, it's dark.
Yeah.
It's wet. It's dirty. There's overflowing rubbish because the garbage disposal crew is on strike because they're being run by a criminal. It's all things like that as soon as you start seeing things, this is Gotham City. So I feel a part. And again, that's down to the camera work and the direction. The fact that we do all see these magnificent characters throughout the film, we forget that Gotham is also an established character in the DC Comics universe.
That's right.
And those, again, that first intro into the film where we see Batman for the first time. Before we see Batman, we see a lot of Gotham, but we also see Gotham in the sunlight in this film. Well, I'd say it's sort of the break of day when we see those gorgeous shots of Batman and Catwoman on rooftops with that rising sun. Again, I'm not too sure where that was filmed. I know some again was in Scotland. Okay, but not much classic lens flare that you would always see in some superhero films. Yeah. This one is just raw lights. That's right. And gorgeous light and just fantastic silhouettes, which are straight out of some modern Tom King comics. And as you said, the way that some of this story goes, it reads and runs like a comic. And that's what I always love to see when we stick around for the credits. We've learned that now with these Marvel movies is that you never leave. No, you never leave.
One must just not leave.
Yes, no, but it's just to sit down and look at all the people that have been involved in this film.
Of course.
And when it comes to the part when we saw the comic artists and writers who were mentioned, it was great to see that, because there were some big names on there that normally perhaps wouldn't get recognition, but now in this film, it was nice to see that. I'm looking forward to seeing it again and seeing some more of the names, because there was a lot I'm sure I missed.
There is a lot more, but I mean, my main point out was to see Bill Finger's name on there. That one was like, oh man, I'm so glad that was there. But I mean, in general, man, I mean, yeah, it's nuts, absolutely nuts.
And this is one of the things that I really enjoy. I mean, obviously, I love enjoying getting to watch a film early so we can prepare for it. But it's the fact that we feel, at first, obviously, very honoured to be invited to watch a film.
That's right.
But also, there's a certain element of pressure there as well for us, because we want to make sure that not only are our opinions honest, as they always are, but we want to make sure that our points come across in a clear and coherent way, not just coming out of the film going, oh yeah, it was really good, go and watch it. We need to make people want to go and watch it. That's and right. I think this film made that job a little bit easier for us, because we had such a fun, immersive experience.
We did.
It was, I'm going to my book now, because this is where the spoilers are. Pages and pages of notes and just little snaps of ideas that I had in my head of what I felt whilst watching this film. Because I've even got notes here, look, punched Kiblath. I've got that as a note in my book because I needed to remember it. It was just an amazing experience. I had notes in my book. I had notes in my phone from it. I needed, as you said, I needed to speak about it. I needed to talk about it.
That's right.
I needed to get, like, as you said, therapy in a way. This film truly is a unique experience in the sense that, yes, we know who Batman is. We know who all the characters and the villains are.
That's right.
That doesn't mean to say that you're not going to be given a whole different way of being told that story.
Exactly.
And that is, for me, what cinema is being told a story in a different way. And that is down to the visuals. That is down to the director. That is down to the writing. I mean, Batman often gets more cinematic experiences than Superman. And yes, as a Superman fan, I can't help but feel a little bit hurt by that. But credit to Batman as a character is that I love this film.
Yeah.
I had just an amazing time. And I want more Batman. And I think that is the best review that I could give as a Superman fan, is that I want to see more of it. I love Christian Bale. I love Ben Affleck. And the whole Ben Affleck thing is always going to be controversial. We know that he has had enough of being Batman and he doesn't want to play Batman anymore. And he's still got some contractual agreements to make some more films. But I don't want anyone to be in a film that they don't want to be a part of, in a way, because they're not going to give their all.
No,
they're not
exactly.
they're not going to give their best.
Exactly.
And Robert Pattinson has got something to prove. And from going back, I'm sure if he had the chance to go back and do Twilight again, he probably wouldn't do it. Yes, there are lots of Twihard fans out there and who are still mad on that world.
Yeah.
But the acting that he has done since and the films that he has been in have been all just insanely good. So I've got him up on the old IMDb because there were a few films that I haven't seen, but Matt Reeves has mentioned. And I've got them. I'm going to probably watch one tonight, actually, because I've got a little a Pattinson playlist going on. But I watched The Lighthouse about 6 months ago.
Very good.
And that, again, another difficult film to watch, but one that, and you get people say, but it's black and white. I mean, get over yourself, really. I mean, that's ridiculous. But that was an amazing film. And the film that he did mention in his interviews was, where was it? I've got it all listed over with all my other notes. Good Time. Now, I've not seen that, but I saw the trailer as soon as the interview finished, and I was like, wow.
Great.
And that's what I love. I mean, you can't always have superhero movies all the time. You need something a bit different. But that film sounded incredible and looked incredible. And you can just go on Pattinson's IMDb.
He's got a great catalogue of movies and different genres of movies that he's worked on. So very versatile actor, man. Like, I genuinely think when they did cast him, I was like, I actually can't wait to see what he does with this character. And I mean, I didn't have no ill will towards what he was going to bring.
No.
I was shown what he brought to the screen.
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
And he's done his job of being an actor. It's his job to, yes, bring the character to life. And he's done that in a fantastic way. But give this man a chance, is what I would say. Give this film a chance.
Give this film a chance.
Just go and watch it, because
you guys are going to love it. I mean, whether you're a Batman fan or not, or a fan of comic book movies or not, if you like thrillers and horrors,
it's
you
film
want jump scare, it's film noir. Like, as I said before, well, actually, I haven't even released I keep saying I haven't even released it yet until the embargo's lifted. Yeah. I started it with go in with a clear head. Yeah. And sit there, just enjoy it. Just sit there and just take it in.
I think I say on every single review that I do is the fact is the most important person's review that you need to take note of is your own.
Mm.
You're the person that's spending your money on the cinema ticket. You're the person that's spending money on this franchise. You need to go in there and not dislike it because it's a hero that you don't appreciate, or it's an actor that you don't really think can do the job very well. You go into this film and be told a story by somebody else. And you might like that story or you might dislike that story. There might be some elements that you liked and some that you didn't.
That's right.
The only thing really that I didn't like about this film is the fact that the characters that we get to see, we didn't see enough of them. And this film is 3 hours long. We seriously got to see so much.
I know.
But the Batmobile, that's something that, spoilerific, that chase that we see in that car, the car is loud, the car is fast, the car is, I want to say possibly my favorite Batmobile because of, and that's why I'm so insanely excited about the opportunity and the possibility of seeing it this week. And if we get to sit in it, would be insane. But even if I just get to see it from afar, to see those curves, to see the mechanics of it, and also where it's come from, I'm really curious because I know that it was in America last week. So unless they've got like a version that is here in England as well, I need to know where that's being kept because I want to go and see it again. I've got a photo shoot all lined up in my head for it. But the Batmobile is a big character in this film, and it was fantastic. Gotham was a big character in this film, but just the heroes and the villains. Oh yes, the moment where we saw Gordon and Batman in prison. They're in the Gotham Police Department together. And like Batman's, I think he's already being hunted down at this point. And Gordon and Batman talk to each other, and Gordon's like, "I need you to punch me." They're sort of they're whispering where all the guys are outside. It's like, "I need you to punch me, but make it look real." It's like bam. It's like, I think he said something after that. I was like, "I didn't mean you to punch me that hard." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to.
I didn't want to pull my punches."
It's it. I thought you were supposed to pull your punch. He was like, "I did." I was like, "Oh, yes." And that's the moment he jumps off the top of that tower.
That's right.
And we see that suit for the first time, and just raw Batman. Something I can't wait to see this week. But yes,
so excited.
Go and make your own minds up. But this film was just for me. It was phenomenal.
I can't wait again. I genuinely can't wait.
Good.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be a fun couple of weeks. A fun couple of weeks.
It will be. All right, Luke. I'm not going to keep you any longer. Sunday evening.
No, this is. I've been waiting for this since we watched the film last week. So this is very much appreciated. We've been dealing with Storm Eunice for the last couple of days, so it's fun to sit down and talk about something a bit more positive. And the storm is clearing metaphorically as well, because we are going back into the cinemas again. And this one is a great one to go back into and really just enjoy the art of cinema. So thanks for having me on, Kibla. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you on, my brother. I'm telling you, it's always great to have you on. But guys, you can't go away that quickly. Yeah. Ooh. Make sure you click subscribe, help a brother out, and the Brothers Geek Out podcast. Click their button. The links to the Geekers Still are all in the description as well, guys. Hey. You better go follow my brother. I'm telling you, better go follow my brother. Guys, massive.
Lots of stuff coming out from us this year. I think we're going to be collaborating a lot. There's a lot of stuff happening. Lots of films coming out. This is the first one. I'm going to say this now. Yeah, quickly. Yes. I'm going to say R-O-C-K. 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 Did I say that right? R-O-C-K? It's a big year. Yeah, R-O-C-K. Yeah. The Rock. It's a big year for The Rock. I mean, he's the biggest guy in entertainment, as he always has been, but there's 2 films with him coming out this year. So who knows who might get to interview The Rock. I can't wait. I mean, it's always someone that I've wanted to interview him. And if ever I did get the chance, I think the only sort of exciting thing that I could bring to that situation is that I would bring my wonderful, dear old mother, because she is the biggest fan of The Rock. And I think I've even asked her, what would you do if The Rock was in the same room as you? And I think her lines were something like, I would climb him like a tree and kiss his bald head. I was like, okay, mother, if I get to interview The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, I'm holding you to that. And you can, the security will have to pry you off his big, wonderful head.
Brilliant. But yeah, no, so much going on. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's subscribed to the channel and who listens to us on all different platforms, because the channel has grown dramatically in the past couple of weeks, and I can't thank you guys enough. So massive thank you to you guys, because it makes us do what we love doing and sharing our passions with you guys. So I can't thank you guys enough. And Luke, dude, I'll see you this week.
Yes, we will. That's the positive mental attitude. We will make things happen. So yes, stay tuned to all our social channels. You will know things when we're allowed to tell you said things. We respect the embargo here.
We do.
We respect the embargo. All right, guys?
We do. One love, guys. Take care.
Peace.